Detective Pikachu, or Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Don't know which one it's called. So Detective Pikachu is a Pokemon movie. It's a live-action Pokemon movie with CGI Pokemon. Lives in a world where there are Pokemon trainers. There's a city where Pokemon and human beings, they coexist, live together. But then this one guy goes missing. That's Detective Pikachu's partner. So missing guy's son teams up with Detective Pikachu. They're gonna find him. Also, Pikachu is voiced by Ryan Reynolds, and that's who carries the entire movie. Ryan Reynolds carries this thing. In fact, without Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu, I don't think it really would have worked, to be honest. Some of the acting in the movie, you're like, okay. Ryan Reynolds is still great. Granted, Ryan Reynolds does play Ryan Reynolds. Like, Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu plays Deadpool, just without the curse words and violence, but Deadpool. It's like Robert Downey Jr. Like, at a point, Robert Downey Jr.'s roles were all just, they were Tony Stark. And then at a point, he was just Tony Stark because that's all he did with the Marvel movie. But that's Ryan Reynolds. Like, this really works for Ryan Reynolds, and he's great at it. And as I'm watching the movie, like, you can tell there are Pokemon references. Like, I'm not really down with Pokemon. Not that I hate Pokemon or anything. I see the appeal for sure. But that just never crossed my path as a thing I latched onto. The most Pokemon exposure I have, definitely Super Smash Brothers. So as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, that was a reference. A lot of kids in this auditorium did get it. So this movie's made for Pokemon fans, made for kids, made for families. I am neither of those things. Bit of a man-child sometimes, sure. But generally, I'm not the target demographic, but I still had a fun time with this movie. This movie's a fun adventure with Ryan Reynolds' voice carrying it. Ryan Reynolds' voice and Pikachu's cuteness. The two go together. Kind of like pistachio ice cream. You're like, wouldn't have thought those two went together, but damn it, they do. But the references aren't just like extra. Sometimes you're like, I have to know who those are. Like, I know who Greninja is because, again, Smash Brothers. But if I was some parent taking my kid, there's this one scene where it's like, oh, they reference Greninja, and I'd be like, was Greninja, was that the frog? Or was that the turtle with the lettuce on his back that shoots things? Parents might get a little confused in this movie because the movie just kind of operates like, well, you know who these Pokemon are, and maybe you don't. I do call BS on the physics. There's this one scene where I'm like, you should have died. Pokemon world or not, in the words of the great Montgomery Scott, you can't change the laws of physics, not doing a Scottish accent. Don't make me try. Point is, that fall would kill anybody. But no, it's fine. And there was a scene in this movie, these aren't even critiques, these are just observations. At one point I was like, that is from the Tim Burton Batman movie. But it's straight up, that's what it is. Regardless, I was having fun with the adventure along the way in that family-friendly kind of way. Then actually in the third act of this movie, it gets kind of intense. Like this one mom and her two kids, she's like had her kids by the hands. She's like, nope. And they like left the auditorium. But I suppose that does show that this movie does have something for everybody. Pokemon fans, kids, families. It's like one of those family movies you can take your kids to and not actually make excuses, be like, oh, I gotta pee for the 14th time. I just need a break. I feel like the early reports, once again, early reports, man, it's always hyperbole, isn't it? Like they're all like, this is the credit. I mean, don't overcook it. It's fun. It's good. It's enjoyable. In fact, I will say Detective Pikachu is a good time. No alcohol required. All right, so Detective Pikachu, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.